Welcome everyone to today's conversation on the Michelle Pascoe Hospitality Podcast. And today I've got a wonderful chap who's going to talk about his business all the way from Arizona. He's just moved there from the heady heights of Florida and enjoying that beautiful weather in Arizona. Mind you, listeners, I was there in August last year. And gosh, it can be hot there, but it really is lovely. So let me introduce you to Carlos. He is the founder of DirectBookMe, a platform helping hospitality operators increase direct bookings and build stronger relationships with their guests. With a focus on guest ownership and long-term loyalty, he works with hosts and operators to move beyond third-party platforms and create repeat direct business. And I went on Carlos's website, and I always like to have a look around, and there was a couple of words really struck out. It's for smart hosts and savvy travelers, and it's global. And I thought, wow, that it really nails it both for the host as well as for the travelers. So welcome, Carlos. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for having me. Pleasure to be here and share you guys our story and who, the what, when, and where, and why.
Perfect. That's great. So look, as I said, we've discussed some questions. So let me ask you the first one because even in your bio, you talk about this ownership. So when you talk about owning the guest, what does that really mean for hospitality operators today, especially when so many first bookings come through those third-party operators?
Yeah, definitely. So owning the guest means having a direct relationship with them beyond the platform that they book through.
Mm,
Most first bookings today come through what's called OTAs, which are online travel agencies, which they're great for exposure. They have the name, they have the demand, but the platform owns the relationship, not you as the operator,
yeah.
right? So even when you deliver an excellent experience, the guest often remembers where they booked, not necessarily where they stayed.
Mm.
And if you don't own the relationship, you're starting from zero every single time. You're starting from scratch. It's a revolving door, and you really don't know who your guests are, who your people are.
Yes.
So
Mm. So look, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but that is important because you're right. It's that third party platform. We just put it out there. And so if you create that relationship from that very first time, it's something that stays in your memory. You'll have it somewhere and you're right. Oh, look, they were great. The accommodation was fantastic. It was really easy to book. It was easy to change. It was easy to refund, whatever it might be. And that's what we want because I think, you're right there. Someone who just go to that third party platform, but there's nobody behind it. It's just everything's automated. And so when there is an issue or you just want to change things or you've got a query, it's, trying to get down a rabbit hole sometimes to
exactly.
get a response, which is crazy. So many
Yeah.
operators see that checkout as the end of the guest journey, but you suggest it really is just another stage in the relationship. What are some missed opportunities after checkout that could turn a one-time guest into a loyal repeat customer?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, most operators see checkout as the end, see
Yes.
you later, goodbye. But in reality, it's where the long-term loyalty is built or lost. And then there's often no continuation of the relationship after the stay, even when the guest had an amazing experience.
Mm,
So a guest can have an amazing stay, leave happy, and they never hear from the operator again. They
mm,
never know who was there. So there's no real connection or reason for them to come back to your property.
mm,
And the gap is where loyalty disappears. As you can do certain things like capture their information, or if they're there for a birthday or for a celebration, you
mm.
know that birthday is going to come back around, that anniversary is going to come back around. Well, you have that information. Use that after and be like, hey, we'd love for you to stay at our place next anniversary, next wedding anniversary, next birthday party, next get together, next celebration. We want you back.
Yes, yeah. And you're right. I think I know in the hospitality industry here over the last 3 decades, working with them, with my clients, is that they have amazing data. They just need to mine it. It's worth absolute gold. And it is those smaller things, such as, those wedding anniversaries. It could be, christening of children. It's that connection again. And if they've already said to you, we really love staying here on your premises, we had this absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic time, then my goodness, they're a warm lead. Why do we keep going for the cold leads all the time? It costs
Yeah,
us more money to
exactly.
acquire that customer when we can do it. But you're right. But it's even like when you go to, to a restaurant or, to other accommodation, that farewell, they don't put the importance of that as much as they do on the first impression, which is absolutely key, that expectation, the experience, but it's that evaluation. And sometimes it's just followed up with a survey, which becomes just so rote now. People just either delete it, but if it can be something personal, which I feel you could do with, your business,
Of
then
course.
it just makes that more, that deeper connection. You're not just seen as, oh, well, you were the last person to, check in or check out. You're actually somebody who stayed in our home or, that
Exactly.
special place. Yeah. So it really does make a difference.
For sure. And there's certain ways to capture that information. Something as simple as having a QR code in your property, in your listing, where it leads the guest right back to you all the time.
Right.
Because they're gonna remember, they know they booked your place, but they're always gonna remember the platform that they found your place. They don't always necessarily remember your place and where to find you. So they'll go back to that platform, but they won't
Yes.
necessarily go back to your property. And that's where
Mm.
the direct bookings come into play. If you can capture that information and keep those repeat guests coming, it really can help your business grow.
Yes, yeah, because it's that repeat customer and then that recommendation and referral to use the platform as well. So, what impacts does relying too heavily on those third party booking platform relationships have on the customer experience, guest loyalty, and long-term brand value?
Yeah, so speaking of long-term brand value, I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm speaking to all the property owners out there who have from one property to 50, the
Mm.
professional. This is your business. This is your brand. And the big platforms, you're basically renting land on their platform. You're working for them,
Yes.
essentially. So if you can somehow brand off, into your own business, which essentially it is, you can one, keep 100% of your earnings, right?
Mm.
Versus those fees. And also play along. You don't have to get rid of the big platform. You can also just use it as a side way of filling those empty nights.
Yeah.
Just being able to build your own business aside from that and not fully be dependent of those platforms with those rules that they enforce on you most of the time.
Yes, yeah, and they do have very strong terms and conditions for whatever reason.
Yeah, of
They're a business as well. But you're right.
course.
It could be an opportunity to, while you are growing your business, still to utilize them in a way until you get your name out there and you start that repeat custom, which is really important. For an accommodation provider or hospitality operator who wants to build more direct relationships with guests, where should they start? And without being overwhelming, because we'll know any business it is very overwhelming to start with, overwhelming their team or adding too much complexity. So, can you just give us an idea of how do they go about that? They've got this property, they've got a team, they approach you, they want to put the business on. So, how does that play out for them?
So I say, like anything else, the best place to start is start small.
Yeah.
Be intentional. Don't get overwhelmed over, oh my God, this is I can't do this. Just try one little thing. You
Mm.
don't need to rebuild everything from scratch. You just need to create a system for your repeat guests.
Yes.
For example, many operators already have returning guests, but they're still being routed through the platform instead of being given a direct, frictionless way to rebook. So the shift starts to change on how you think about retention instead of just acquisition.
Mm.
Think about keeping them coming back. And that just
Yes.
goes for business in general. You get that new customer, but that customer that's always been two to three, four times, they're just as gold too. So
Yes.
that's and create a system for yourself.
Yes, yeah. So how do they go about that? They've got this property because I've saw there on your website, and we'll put all the links in the show notes,
Yeah.
is that it is both for hosts as well as guests. So they've got this property. What, because it sounds like to me, reading it as well as what you're saying, the owner is in control of that journey of the guest, and you are playing against some big players. How do they actually find you, Carlos? And because it is globally as well, how do they
Right.
find you and go about going, okay, I'm going to use, you in finding people to come into my home, whatever it might be.
So you can find us. Our website is www.directbookme.co. You can go on the platform as a host. You can free to do so. List your property. As of right now, it's we're in trial phase, so we want as many people to sign up so that we can get more experience and more feedback. And then
Hmm.
it's always be free for travelers to use. We don't charge anything for the guests to use our platform. And then you can find us on social media as well. We're on Instagram under DirectBookMe. We have our LinkedIn. We have our newsletter, Vacation Unlocked, which is on LinkedIn as well. Facebook, TikTok, all over social media. And then our email, you can find me at carlos at directbookme.co. Shoot us a message there. And we also have a contact page on our website. So very easy to be found.
Excellent. Because people want it to be easy, don't they? And
Yeah, they do.
and I think if that can be the first step when they want to put their property, with you to, have guests come to it, or for a guest to find what they're looking for, the easier it is, that first part of the journey, then it really creates that opportunity for them to learn more about you as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, from a leadership perspective, how can owners and managers shift their team's mindset from simply delivering a stale service to building an ongoing trust relationship? Because people can stay anywhere, and it could be just for an overnight, but it is
Mhm.
building that relationship. And from what I see from your business, Carlos, it is that repeat customer and that referral that is absolutely key. So, can you give provide some ideas there?
Yeah, so this is really a leadership conversation, and it's shifting that mindset of we delivered a stay to we started a relationship. You're
Yes.
building the relationship, the direct relationship, and that changes how teams communicate, how they think about the guest experience and how they approach the experience beyond the checkout, just not the stay.
Mm.
Because the real asset isn't the booking, it's the guest who comes back to your place. Like
Yes.
we mentioned, for those events, those special moments, those anniversaries, those birthdays. So,
Yes, yeah. And that's what's key. It is bringing them back. So at the moment, I know you're just saying, you're a relatively new business. Where are you finding the biggest uptake? Being there in the US, or, whereabouts globally?
so the biggest uptick right now. So we're originally from Florida. So most of our listings of the properties that we do have are in Florida. Florida's a great place to vacation.
Yes.
So we found hosts there who are really for the idea, and then slowly, we've been trickling into other places in order to build ourselves a name and for people to know who we are.
Yes. And
Okay,
and
it's all about educating and,
yes.
and telling people, look, direct bookings can be done.
Yes. And you're
It
right.
is a thing.
Yeah, it is about educating people to find a new platform, a new way of doing things. Carlos, before we finish today, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to share with my audience?
I just wanted to tell people, what a direct booking is, because a lot of
Yes.
people don't know what a direct booking is.
Mm.
So it's instead of going to those big platforms, you book directly with the property owner. The property owner takes full care of the experience without, those big players. And same thing for the traveler. You want to find directly that host who has that property. So like that, you guys build that relationship, and it saves everybody money in their pocket, at the end of the day, which is
Yes.
also a big part of the experience. you
Yes.
know.
And do you provide some assistance, Carlos, with people, perhaps, it's their first time that they're putting their property, up there for, accommodation stays. Do you assist them as well in, looking at what insurances they need, cleaning facilities, give them some sort of structure? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people go, this is a great idea, but I've never done it before. So is there some sort of, little bit of
Yes.
support there for them?
So yeah, so right now, what we do is we do talk to hosts about those different options for them, because it takes a lot to do a direct booking in a sense. Like you said, you're cleaning, collecting the payments,
Mm.
insurance. So we try to provide, we actually have our own podcast, the Direct Book Me podcast, where we talk about different topics. You can find us on YouTube. And in order to help those people learn more about what direct bookings are and what it takes to do a direct booking so
Yeah.
they feel safe and they can trust
Mm.
both the guests and that mutual relationship for that vacation.
Yeah. Oh, look, that's great. And so we'll also put the link in there for the your podcast because to me, I think, it is having that support in knowing exactly what those steps are for the host to feel,
Yeah,
yeah, feel like they're in control, as well as for the guests to know that when they get there, it's going to be a property that of exactly
right.
what they're promoting it to be. So,
Yeah, yeah. Eventually, as we grow, we want to partner up with different companies who provide these services. We want to be that one toolbox that you open it, and in there you can find what you need for the direct booking infrastructure.
yes.
That's our long-term vision. That's our long-term goal is
Mm.
to make direct bookings as trustworthy and safe as the other way of booking, which is through through the big parties.
Yes,
So.
yeah. Well, look, Carlos, I thank you so much for this conversation today and hearing about your business. No matter where you are in the business journey, it's always very exciting. And to me, yours is, it's there, it's making a difference, as you said, in Florida and now, trickling out to more states and across globally. And I do truly wish you all the very best for a different way of booking something that we all desire, and that is travel and having some fun
Yes, at the end of the
and knowing
day,
that we're safe.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's hospitality, right?
It
And you
is,
want to be
yes.
hospitable, you want to be there for your guests, you want them to experience those moments, that journey, all that money that they spent, for this trip. You want them to have a good time and you want to be hospitable. You want to be there for your guest,
Yes,
you know.
yeah. And that's exactly what hospitality is all about. It's being hospitable, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yes, that's it. In all essence, of the word.
And the more easier we can make it for people in that frictionless experience, they can book it, they know it's done, they can arrive, they have entry, and it's easy to get out and easy to book and easy to come back. The less friction that we can cause for our guests, the better and the happier they are, and certainly we are as being the host. So thank you so much, Carlos. I really do wish you all the very best.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to listening to the show and definitely look forward to listening to more of your episodes. So.
Excellent. Thank you.